Rimuru Go Back in Time by Rimu-chi. Visitors Part 1. Rimuru's POV. In my office, I was busy with paperwork. Beside me were Shizu, Frey, and Rain, diligently assisting with various tasks. Soka worked within my shadow, training her own squad, while my energetic niece, Milam, was here, basking in everyone's company. The room felt lively and harmonious, filled with a warm sense of camaraderie. Elsewhere, Goblina and Gobwa taught younger goblins the basics of cooking and other domestic skills. Xian oversaw the training of the goblin riders, while Shuna managed her bustling clothing shop. It was a peaceful, ordinary day in Tempest. Suddenly, Milam popped up from her seat, flashing a bright smile. Rimuru, I'm going to take a walk for a bit. I glanced up with a chuckle. Alright, but listen, if anyone causes trouble, feel free to teach them a lesson. Just try not to kill anyone, alright? And don't knock them out unless you absolutely have to. Milam's eyes gleamed mischievously. Got it. She skipped out of the room, practically radiating excitement. Shizu raised an eyebrow, curious. Why give her that kind of permission? I grinned. Just a hunch. Let's say I feel something interesting is about to happen. Shizu and the others exchanged puzzled looks, but they shrugged it off and returned to their tasks. A few hours later. Suddenly, a loud explosion rocked Tempest. Frey shot to her feet. What was that? I couldn't hold back a small smirk. Exactly what I was expecting. Let's go take a look. We teleported to the site of the commotion. Standing proudly amidst the wreckage of what looked like a skirmish was Milam, smiling as if she'd just won a game. When she saw me, she rushed over, eyes sparkling. Rimuru, I did just what you told me. She said proudly. Good job, Milam. I patted her head. I'll make you something delicious later, alright. Yay. Milam beamed before stepping aside. My gaze turned to the intruder, sprawled on the ground, none other than Phobio, one of Demon Lord Carrion's beastketeers. He looked battered but still tried to maintain a glare. I sighed, crossing my arms. So, it seems you thought you could attack my people, I asked, feigning sympathy. Well, we need to talk. I called for Rigur. Escort him to the meeting room, I ordered, then teleported the rest of us there. As we settled into the meeting room, Frey leaned over, smirking. So this was your something interesting, I take it. I nodded, smiling. Exactly. Shizu still looked baffled. Who is this guy, anyway? Rain sighed, crossing her arms. That's Phobio, supposedly one of Demon Lord Carrion's strongest. Though, given the way he handled himself against Milam, he's not much of a threat. True. I chuckled. Even Gobta could probably handle him without breaking a sweat. Finally, Rigur entered, guiding Phobio, who was clearly trying to muster some pride despite his injuries. Phobio's POV. Demon Lord Carrion-sama ordered me to form an alliance with the Majin who defeated the Orc Lord. But frankly, I don't see him as worthy of an equal alliance. He'd make a far better subordinate. In fact, I could probably defeat him without breaking a sweat. After several days of traveling, we finally arrived at the so-called village of this Majin. But what greeted me was not a village at all, it was a full-blown nation, sprawling with impressive buildings, walls, and bustling citizens. I turned to my subordinates. Is this really where the Majin lives? I asked, doubt coloring my voice. Yes, Phobio-sama, one of them replied. The reports from our spies confirmed it. I scowled. You fools. This isn't a village, this is a nation. Bigger than Urizania. I smirked. But no matter. This only makes it a more worthy gift for Carrion-sama. Just then, a goblin approached us with a stern expression. Who are you? He demanded. I scoffed. I am Phobio of the Beastketeers, also known as the Black Panther Fang, and I serve under Demon Lord Carrion. This place, from now on, falls under Carrion-sama's rule. I announced, puffing out my chest. The goblin raised an eyebrow, unimpressed. Is that so? His attitude annoyed me. How dare you speak to me like that? I snarled, ready to put this insolent goblin in his place. I am the strongest warrior in Carrion-sama's forces. Show respect. But before I could even swing, a small hand caught my fist, stopping me cold. I looked down and saw a young girl with a cheerful smile but an overwhelming aura of power. I realized with a chill that it was Demon Lord Milam herself. She grinned at me for a second and then punched me with a force that sent me flying backward. I barely managed to stay conscious, but the world was spinning as I staggered to my feet. Then, I noticed the Majin I had come to find standing behind her, calmly watching the scene. Rimuru, I did just what you told me to. Milam chirped, beaming as she ran over to him. So, his name is Rimuru, huh? Good job, Milam, he said and patted her head. I'll make you something very tasty later, alright. This Rimuru guy, using Demon Lord Milam. What a coward. Then, I saw Demon Lord Frey standing beside him. So she betrayed Karyan-sama for this lowlife Majin. So, it seems you thought you could attack my people, he said, clearly mocking me. Well, we need to talk. He ordered one of the goblins, named Rigyur, to bring me to the meeting room. I couldn't believe the audacity of this Majin Rimuru and his people. Demon Lord Karyan-sama had sent me to form an alliance, yet this whole experience was beyond humiliating. Still, I held my head high, hiding the throbbing pain from that Demon Lord brat's punch. Rimuru leaned forward, sizing me up. So, Phobio, mind telling me what you thought you were doing? I spat, barely containing my rage. I am Phobio, one of Demon Lord Karyan's loyal beastketeers. I came here to discuss an alliance, but after seeing you, I don't think you're worthy. You're using Demon Lords Milam and Frey to guard this place. I'd be doing you a favor letting you serve under Karyan-sama. A tall woman stepped forward, her blade glinting under the room's light. You dare call my husband worthless? Shizu's tone was icy. I sneered. And what are you going to do about it, human? That's enough. Frey snapped, her eyes flashing with anger. You insult not only my husband, but also our family. Show some respect. Her words seemed to catch me off guard. Another woman, with a devilish smile, crossed her arms. Idiots like you never learn, Rain muttered with a scoff. I glared at her. So, you must be Rain, Demon Lord Guy Crimson's maid. What are you doing in a worthless place like this? Rain chuckled. Oh, I'm here because my master is Rimuru-sama. She smirked. And, by the way, he's my husband too. I felt my jaw drop. This weak Majin. Everyone's rallied around him. What a joke. Just then, Rimuru rose, his expression now ice-cold. Rimuru's pav. I watched Phobio's mocking grin with growing irritation. Pride swelled within me. No one insulted my wives, my subordinates, or my people like this. So, I said, taking a few steps forward, you think you're stronger than me? He scoffed. Absolutely. You're just a worthless Majin. I laughed coldly. Is that so? You and your master really have no idea who I am, do you? He narrowed his eyes. And why should I care? I smirked, then raised my hand, creating a powerful barrier around us. I let my aura flare. A dragon spirit mixed with void energy. The force of it was enough to make Phobio and his subordinates collapse to their knees, faces filled with terror. I am Rimuru Tempest, the fifth true dragon, the newly born void dragon. My voice echoed around us. Then, I addressed the voice of the world silently. Can you make an announcement for me? Inform everyone. As you wish, master. In an instant, the voice of the world rang out across the entire nation. Voice of the world. Notice, the fifth true dragon, Void Dragon Rimuru Tempest, successor of Star King Valdan Ava, commands the voice of the world to announce his titles. He shall be known as Void Dragon Rimuru Tempest, second Star King Rimuru Tempest, and successor of God. My people were already aware of this, so they weren't surprised. But Phobio and his subordinates were shaking, wide-eyed with fear. Uncle Rimuru. Milam's voice rang out excitedly. Teach me how to do that. When the time is right, I said, patting her head as I lowered my aura. I turned back to Phobio, who was now trembling on his knees. Listen carefully, Phobio, I said, my tone icy. You will never again insult my wives, my subordinates, or my people. I am not here to submit to you or your master. I was open to an alliance, but now, you've proven yourself unworthy of even that. I leaned in close, letting the weight of my words sink in. Do you realize the consequences of your actions? You insulted me, my wives, my people, and even my niece. This is essentially a declaration of war. If your master wishes to discuss terms, he can come here in person. Now leave, or I'll send you back in pieces. He looked at me, fury mixed with fear. I'll remember this humiliation. I raised an eyebrow, giving him a playful smirk. Oh, is that a threat, Phobio? My tone was laced with mockery. If not, then be on your way. He and his subordinates finally left, their retreat laced with bitterness. As they disappeared, Frey let out a sigh. You handled that well, Rimuru. I shrugged. Let's just see how things unfold. Who knows, maybe he'll return as something far more dangerous. With that, we returned to our usual duties, but I kept an eye on the horizon, wondering what consequences this day might bring.